Hello, and welcome back to Gone Solo and our Keyforge Secrets of the Crucible campaign. I hope you've been enjoying the videos. I've been having a lot of fun making them. So in our last episode, Fabum and Doceep were going to head out. They ran into a problem with their pterosaur chariot. They had to go find some key berries, which are berries that only grow near forged keys. So they enlisted the help of a Martian elder named Vubep, who directed them in the right place. And they got some berries, but they lost a day. And then as they were heading out on the next day, their supervisor, Prethest, gave them an additional assignment to stop at the Forest of Doors, where they were able to distract a group of specters using amber that shot off a bright light. It wasn't what they were trying to do. They were trying to imprint the amber with an anxious emotion, which is what the specters like to eat. So it will not solve that problem permanently, but it was good enough for now. So we're back into it. So we're setting up a new scene, and we did establish that it's going to take a total of 4 travel days to get back to the Midnight Jungle to explore and investigate what was going on with Transtech's mysterious cargo. So we've done one of those days, and so now they are going to be heading out. So that would just be what the setup is. They're heading out for the day. They're getting into their pterosaur chariot. They're flying to wherever the next place is, which the dice will let us know everything we need to know. But before we do anything, we got to roll our chaos die and see if those best laid plans go awry. All right, our chaos is currently 5. They've been holding pretty steady. I rolled a 7. So yes, everything is going to go, well, more or less as they expected. So where is their second landing point for today? We need to generate another place with our wilderness generator. Custom made for this. Oops. I haven't had a hard time getting in the box this morning. All right, so I rolled a 14. So this is a tundra or Arctic or ice kind of location. And let's give it some flavor. Oh, interesting. So there's like a sealed, locked door. So what? Oh, like a vault. Oh, that's really interesting. Let me think about what that could mean. Okay, I think I know what that vault means, but I want to ask the fate chart just a few more questions about this place, this Arctic wasteland. Is it inhabited? Does anybody live here? Since it's frozen and Arctic, I'm going to say it's unlikely. But it is the Crucible after 66. So that is a no. But we did roll doubles, which means we have to resolve a random event. So we're pulling in information about this place. All right, so what is the focus of this random event? 52. Move away from a thread. Okay, so that means from one of our threads, it's going to complicate or distance Fabum's progress on any of these threads. So let's get the other chart to tell us what this event is all about. All right, 64, insightful. 78, scientist. Insightful scientist. Well, that seems like it would be Doceep, who is the more insightful scientist, and there's something that's going to be pushing away from. Aha. Okay. I know what this is. So, Doceep and Fabum have a relatively uneventful day in the Crucible, flying their pterosaur chariot through the skies of the Crucible. It gets to be towards the end of the day, and they're looking for a place to land, but unfortunately, everywhere it's just this vast expanse of snow and ice, and they don't really have any other choice but to set down there because it is so vast. So they bring the chariot in for a landing. Let's see if, since it's going to be landing on ice, it's going to be a tricky piloting role. So let's see how Fabum does with that. My guess is not very well, because that's how all of these Genesys roles have been going. Well, whatever happens, here we go. All right, so we do have a success with a threat. So 2 successes. So some sort of minor complication. So as Fabum brings in the chariot, it skids along the ice, and the pterosaur kind of balks at the cold, and as they come in for a landing, it smooths to a halt, and they're safe. But because of the cold weather, the pterosaur, being a cold-blooded animal, is going to need extra supplies, extra food. So I'm not really keeping track of this mechanically, but they've used up more of the keyberry supply than they would have needed to stay here. So they deploy their tent structure. I assume they have some sort of, standard issue wilderness tent. It's probably very easy to use. You push a button, it goes boop, 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 boop. And they get the whatever heat generator that they have going. They make their camp for the night. So, and then that evening, they get to talking over their campfire. And so this is the random event that we rolled, where we're moving away from a thread, and we're going to move away from Fabum's looking for love thread. They're getting to talking, and Fabum is sort of filling in Doceep in the background of the midnight jungle escapades from episode 1, and mentions this possible relationship that they might have had with Bay, the performer silicate, and then mentions how it didn't work out. And Doceep, the insightful scientist, said, well, how would you expect any of this to work out? You're an arbitrator. You're traveling over the Crucible all the time. You never spend very long in one place. I don't see how that's very conducive to the kind of relationship that it seems like you're looking for. And Fabum sort of hit with this insight, this someone putting it in a way that she'd never really thought of before, and so she has to kind of sit and think. It's like, well, I don't know. I never thought about it in that way, but now she's feeling a little bit embarrassed, right? She's feeling a little bit put on the spot that Doceep has sort of seen into this, sort of vulnerable and painful aspect of Fabum's life. She said, well, I don't see why I can't have that. It's the Crucible. Anything could happen. It's just a challenge to be overcome. And she's getting kind of mad. Well, so I'm going to go outside and cool off. So she leaves the tent. She doesn't want to talk about this anymore. She's out on the cold tundra. This is an expanse of ice. She, bundles up in her overcoat and she walks out. And as she heads out onto the plateau, she notices something unusual, which is very common on the Crucible. But embedded in the tundra, and this goes back to that story guide that we had earlier, sort of rolling everything together, she notices a metal door, vaulted, futuristic looking metal door in the ice. And of course, she's curious. We know that from her strength. And so she's going to go up and investigate it. Is it a data pad sort of entry, sort of a electronic entry, or does it seem to be more of a mechanical entry? 50-50 yes for electronic, no for mechanical. 66, no, it's a mechanical entry, and that's another random event. Okay, this is what we're doing. Okay, so something about this door, something about the situation is going to trigger another random, or maybe it's just another random event. So what's the focus of this event? Woo! All right, 54, close a thread. Well, that's really interesting, because here is our thread. She's still looking for love, which we just stepped away from, right? She has to think about whether that's possible for her in her current situation. We've got Transtex Mysterious Cargo, which is sort of the overarching thing that's driving us. The giants move deeper into the midnight jungle, and the mismanagement at the Saurian Arbitrators Guilds. Well, if we're going to close one, okay, I've got it. As she approaches this vaulted door, she hears rhythmic beating music from inside. Boom, 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 boom. And it sounds familiar. This is music that she's heard before. And she goes up and knocks. And she has to knock pretty loudly to overcome the music. But the door opens up and there's a giant inside, and there's, how can I help you? And Fabum recognizes the giant as one that she was working with in the Midnight Jungle. And through a series of questions and seeing what's going on, and he recognizes her, the giants from the Midnight Jungle have retreated so far from the Midnight Jungle. They're in a totally different region. They wanted to find some place where they would not bother anyone. So they're in the middle of this Arctic, wasteland, and they've, found this abandoned bunker, and they've converted it into their party zone. And now they're not going to bother anyone ever again. She goes into the party and she finds the lead giant. His name was Krog or something. And so they're dancing the music, and they got, their flashing lights, and they've got their loud drums, boom, 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 boom. And he said, you inspired me, you Tyrannosaurus. And Fabum has to say, actually, I'm a Rajasaurus. You inspired me. I didn't realize that we were bothering other people with our party, so we found a place where we never bother anyone again. A bunker in the middle of the wasteland. And so Fabum parties with them for a little bit, dances around, and feels cheered by this, despite their earlier conversation with Doceep. And they're relieved to know that this thread has been resolved, that this story has come to an end. So it's a fun little discovery here. You just never know. You just never know what these dice are going to do to you. I love it. Great. So, great. So that was day 2. Well, that KS number, I don't know. It could kind of go either way. That conversation with Doceep you know, she's feeling pretty sad, but then she's feeling pretty resolved that the earlier situation has gone well. So, you know, let's just roll for it. Okay, we will increase the chaos factor to 6. All right, we have to move it either way. So, you know, she gets back to the tent. Doceep is already asleep. So in the morning, they head out, but no hard feelings, I think, at this point. Fabum's just trying to deal with Doceep's insight. So, heading out, day 3 of the journey. So we got to roll under our chaos factor. See if anything happens. 9. No. All right. We're heading out. So where is this next place they end up? Our wilderness generator. We've got a 9. Another forest. Great. And what kind of forest is this? Oh, interesting. So I've got the, you know, it's a cradle. It's a floating cradle. Well, that's really weird and interesting. So what we'll say is this forest has a lot of, it's not just a forest, there's lots of rivers that cut through it. So almost more swampy or bayou. And the cradle is telling me that it's a younger forest, so it's not quite as established. The trees are maybe a little bit more tender, and kind of more saplings. It's green and wet, and hasn't been there very long. But, you know, on the Crucible, things are constantly churning. So, yeah. So the question is, does anybody live here? I don't know. 14. Yes, this is inhabited. Who is it inhabited by? Well, let's see. Because I've been doing a lot of this species, but you know we haven't taken. We haven't done much of. I do have this faction table, so let's leave it. So is it an unaffiliated species, or is there a faction that has a presence here? It is a faction. Okay, and so that's a D12. And which faction has a presence here? And that is Mars. Uh-oh. That's a problem. Because dealing with a Martian on its own, that's one thing. But this is the faction Mars, which means this is the very warlike, xenophobic, aggressive side of the Martian populace. So that's going to be very interesting. So what are the Martians trying to do here? Let's roll on our events. Okay, 32. Delay 16. Love. Is there a theme yet? Okay. What I'm going to interpret this to mean, because we've established that this is a young forest, right? So this is actually the result of Martian experimentation. They are doing terraforming, okay? And what they're trying to do is they're trying to delay the growth of the plant, the vegetation and the plants in this area so they don't reproduce or they don't reach maturity for whatever reason. And that's why all of the plants are young. So they're doing experiments on this vast stretch of area. And but for whatever reason, this is the place where Fabum and Doceep have to settle down. Do they notice Martian activity? Are they aware of the Martian activity as they come to set down here? Or do they not notice that? So what would that be? Perception. Well, that's it's probably a no, because that's just a one thing, and okay, yes, no. I mean, it's a tie, which is a failure. So no, they have no awareness that it just looks like wilderness to them. So they go sit down. They try to find a space between the the rivers, the riverbanks, to sit down. And they are also, because they're getting very low on the key berries, so they would need to find some today, based on what they had already packed and what they've lost at the tundra. So they sit down, and they're going to call up their old friend Vubep, see if they can get a lead on maybe some key berries in this area. So Fabum calls up Vubep on her communicator, and so Vubep comes on and says,
Oh, investigators, our arbitrators. Thank you so much for all that data you were able to collect at that last site. That was very helpful. And people are taking my theories about that vault battle much more seriously now. I'm happy to help you with whatever you need.
Great. Well, we are looking for some more key berries. So I'm sending you our coordinates now. Could you let us know if there might have been a key forging nearby in this area, and we could go get more of those key berries?
Yeah, sure, I'll look at it.
so, is there something nearby?
50-50. We don't know.
57. Yes.
Yes. Not too far from you.
And Vubep sends the coordinates, and Fabum says,
Thank you very much, Vubep. We're happy to...
does Vubep want something in return? Yes, usually.
Yeah, if you could just keep sending me more data from the site, just careful observation from that site. I'll use it. I'll use it. Thank you.
All right, so they've got a site nearby where they're going to go and harvest some key berries, but they don't know that there are Martians in this area. Okay, I was just pulling up the stat block for the Martian scout in case that becomes relevant. Just seems like it might. Fabum and Doceep are not aware of the danger. Fabum has the location on a lead for some key berries, and it's not too far. So it seems likely to me, unfortunate as it may be, that Fabum would go off by herself and Doceep would stay at camp. So, can you tell I'm getting a little nervous? I'm a little bit worried for Fabum. We haven't done any combat yet in this campaign, which is funny to me. But here we go. Fabum finds the place where the keyberries are, and like we said, like there's all sorts of intersecting waterways, and so there's like a little island, and we've got all these young sapling trees growing around, and then there's a bushel of well, she finds the place. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bountiful is this harvest of key berries? 1. Not a lot of key berries. Just like a few. This is going to be not really enough to extend their supply. So yes, they're here, but oof, it's slim pickings. Yikes. So, but she'll take what she can get, and she doesn't know that she's in a hurry. It seems likely to me that if the Martians are present in this area and she is not aware of them, that they would get the jump on her. So the question is there just one scout, or is there more than one scout? So, is there just one scout? 12. Exceptional yes. So not only is there just one scout, there are no others anywhere. This is like a one scout for a very, very huge area, very lonely assignment. There's no nearby backup. So that's actually probably the best result possible in that case. Well, what would the scout do if the scout was aware? It would probably, if they're doing an experiment here, they would probably not want visitors interfering. As Fabum makes it to the little island and is gathering up the scraps of berries, I would test awareness, but she's not, or perception, but she's not gonna notice. Her perception is so poor. So we're just gonna say that the Martian, gets the jump on her and comes out holding his ray rifle.
Ew! Tyrannosaurus! Hands up!
And so Fabum puts up her tiny little hands and says,
Actually, it's a Rajasaurus. I'm a Rajasaurus. Common mistake.
Whatever. This is Martian territory. You need to leave immediately.
Well, Fabum's got a choice here, right? They need these berries. It's not a lot of berries. And there's this Martian here, and they made a camp for the night. She's going to try to negotiate. That's more her skill set. No, we're going to use charm instead, because that's better.
I am so sorry to interrupt your very important work.
We are merely camping for the night, and we will be gone first thing in the morning. And as soon as I'm able to harvest these berries, I will go back to our camp, and we will not bother you. In fact, I can send a message to your superiors about what a great job you are doing. Okay. This succeeds with 3 threats. So, yes, the Martian is convinced, but we need some sort of massive trouble or inconvenience, the Martian says.
All right. But I'm following you back to your camp. I'm staying there all night. I'm keeping an eye on you. Better not step out of line at any moment, or I'll use this ray rifle on you.
Not a great situation, but considering the other options, Fabum's going to take it. So, Fabum,
May I continue to harvest these berries?
Go ahead. Not very many anyway. And those aren't the plants that I'm interested anyway.
She collects the berries, and the Martian follows her back to camp. So Doceep looks up, sees Fabum kind of trudging in the meager tiny basket or holding sack or whatever she's got of these berries, and a Martian with a drawn weapon following her out of the woods. Doceep says, "Whoa! What's going on?" And Fabum explains the situation and how this Martian is going to be spending the night camping with them, keeping an eye on them, make sure they don't go out or do anything. They're making camp, but of course Fabum is curious about what the Martian is doing out here, so is asking questions.
Oh, so what's your assignment here?
No questions. None of your business. This territory has been seized by Martians. No one else is allowed.
I'm wondering, as the night goes on and no reinforcements arrive and the Martian has not been using their communicator, I think it becomes pretty obvious to Fabum that this Martian is alone. It has been given this very remote assignment, and while they are armed and dangerous, they are at least by themselves. I think Fabum becomes aware of this. She's going to use another charm, try to see if she can get some more information.
Must get pretty lonely out here in the woods. We're happy to share some of our provisions with you if you would be so inclined.
Yes. Another success and a little threat. The Martian looks her over and...
Very well. It's not standard Mars rations, but I will partake.
And so the threat is going to be another impact on their supplies. So not necessarily the key berries, but the other supplies that they have. Again, I'm not representing this mechanically. The Martian needs more than their share. So as the Martian is eating, he says,
Yes, these scientific research assignments can do. You're right. They do get very lonely, but all for the glory of Mars. I accept my assignment, no matter how small or insignificant or lonely. All for the glory of Mars.
and so Doceep picks up on this. Says, "Oh, well, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. Can you tell me about the experiment that you're running?" And the Martian, well,
it's a plant growth experiment. Now that's all I'm allowed to tell you. The rest is classified.
well, this is all very interesting. And I wonder if this might be a new thread. I don't know how this is going to relate, but as we saw with the Giants thread, sometimes these ideas come back in unusual or unexpected ways, which is always really fun. So, yeah, I'm going to add that thread that there's some Martian plant experiments going on. And we'll see if that becomes relevant in the future. So The Martian keeps watch all night. They don't get very good sleep, Fabum and Doceep, because the Martian's constantly poking them and keeping them awake. Right, this was a large threat on that roll, right? So, and then at very first light, the Martian says, "All right, get out of here, go. You gotta leave now." And so Fabum and Doceep pack up and get ready to go. It is the 4th day of travel. By the end of the day, they will be, barring something happening, which keeps happening, they will be in the Midnight Jungle. But they are out of key berries. So if they do not find key berries today, more key berries, their pterosaur is going to start to get very hungry and very cranky. So they're going to head out, maybe check in with Vupep again, see if there's some place on the way or near the Midnight Jungle that they might be able to harvest some key berries, and then get back to the Midnight Jungle. So, but first, that scene, I think, did not go very well for them, so we're going to increase that chaos rank to 7. Is there a random event? 4, yes. And it's an interrupt scene. So, something totally unrelated to their plans comes crashing in to what's happening. So, what is the event focus? Had a lot of these today. That's fun. That's fun. All right. 46. Move away from a thread. Okay. So one of these threads, I'm going to go further away from. All right. We roll our event meaning. 56. Usurp. 65. Intrigues. Usurp intrigues. And this is going to complicate or move us away from one of our threads. Here's what I'm thinking. One of our threads is the mismanagement at the Saurian Arbitrators Guild. And we know Doceep used to be a scientist and was reassigned to the Arbitrators Guild for reasons that we don't know or understand. Usurp intrigues? That indicates to me that there are secret machinations going on behind the scenes. And at this point, Doceep is now going to try, based on his secret orders, it's going to try to take over what's going on here. And it might have to do with these plants. Based on this random event, Doceep has secret orders. So my question is, do these secret orders have to do with what's going on here at the Martian plant, or is it going to happen later? So is it here with the plants, or is it something else that's going to happen later today? 83. Later. Okay. So, Fabum has no idea what's going to happen. So, they head out. Fabum is going to call up Vupep again. So they're in the sky. They're on their way because they had to get out of there really quick. And Fabum is asking Vupep,
So sorry to call you so early, or I'm not sure what time it is there back at Part of Mechanica. Time is tricky on the Crucible, but we did find some key berries. It was not a lot, and I'm wondering, I'm sending you our flight path towards the Midnight Jungle. I'm wondering if there's anything on the way that might be able to find some more key berries.
Did you take some documentation for me?
Fabum says, well, unfortunately, I was interrupted by overzealous Martian scout, and I didn't have time.
Well, that's very interesting then, isn't it? Seem to have a lot of requests for me.
Look, we need these keyberries. We are ran low. We didn't get very much to begin with. Surely there's something in your vast knowledge of vault battles, and you should be able to help us with.
Whoa, okay. Yeah, so this is our first ever, what do they even call it? Triumph! We got a triumph!
You're right. I actually do know a lot. In fact, I'm going to show you how much I know. I'm going to send you all my data on all the keys forging and vault battles. That way you can find it yourself.
So now, and he transmits the data package, and now Fabum's got a complete map of all areas where keys have been forged, and we'll be able to find keyberries nearby whenever. So, the question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very close to the Midnight Jungle, 10 being pretty much where they are right now, where on the pathway is the nearest site of keyberries? 10. We know we're going to be moving out of this area, so it's some other nearby area just outside of the border of this Martian experiment place. All right, 12. It is a swamp. Ooh. And, woo. Okay, so this is some sort of hypnotic swamp. A swamp that is going to try to lull you into a false sense of security and maybe devour you. And remember, Doceep is also going to try to take over the mission. That was our interrupt.
Fabum says, all right, there's a keyberries very near here. We're just going to make a quick stop very early on, and we'll get them. And so they head down into the swamp, but this swamp, maybe it's the gases, or maybe the vines at the end have like swirling eyeballs or something, but everything about this swamp is designed to like lull you, hypnotize you. So it's very dangerous. So what is she gonna have to roll to resist? Okay, so discipline is the skill that we want to roll. All right, so Fabum is going to try to resist the powers of the swamp. She fails. Fabum sets out to find the keyberries, and but a vine creeps down, and it's got swirling purple and yellow eyeball on it, and it sort of goes onto her face, and she says, oh, that's very pretty and very interesting. And behind her, Doceep says, I'm very sorry, Fabum, but I have other special orders. I'm going to be taking control of this chariot. Oh, would he just leave her there? That seems so harsh. Oh, I mean, I feel like they've established some sort of rapport, but I don't know what kind of orders Doceep has. He's got some sort of secret mission. So, geez, I'm going to say it's very unlikely that he just leaves her there. Does he just leave her there? Yes. So sorry that it had to be here, Fabum. I was
starting to like you, but I'm operating under other orders. I'll leave you a packet of supplies. Goodbye. And Fabum is so entranced by the hypnotizing vine that she almost doesn't really know what's happening. It all seems like sort of a dream. And the pterosaur flies up into the sky, and she's been left abandoned by some sort of secret plot, some intrigue, machinations going on at the highly mismanaged Saurian Arbitrators Guild. And that, friends, is where we're going to leave it. Will Fabum be able to get out of this swamp? What is Doceep's secret mission? What's going on with those Martians and those plants? Who knows? It's a cliffhanger, but we'll find out next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you've been enjoying these and you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Please comment. Let me know how you're enjoying it. I'm having a blast making these. So until then, we'll see you next time.